Alright, so let's talk about my gear and my game plans for the matchups that I played. I should probably go to the bank. So maybe we'll wait. And I'll get to the bank and we can restart. But yeah, it sucks. I got Ash Condi after I did that respec into Prot. So that sucked a lot. Because now I took all those points out of being like two-handed weapon favored, and I kind of just lost them all. But I would still bust this out in a couple matchups. Still a fucking godlike weapon. And yeah, so if you look at my trinkets, I got a lot of crap. For my like world fighting and battleground stuff, let me see if I have it set up. This is something like what I would run, and it's like the highest trinket is what I would use first, and then I just go down the line and rotate. So like insignia, you should always kind of rock just to keep you out of stuns and crap. Pets are amazing. AGM is good if you have it just because it gives you shield. Net I love a lot. Zandalorian Hero Charm for burst. Let me see if I run anything weird here. No, same thing, just like probably on my mana regen and stuff. Alright.
What can I do for you?
So, Ugly Bank. Now I can talk a little bit about the strategies and the sets. Alright. So I talked about my basic build. It was this gear. I love Battle Robes and Insignia, but I do like a trinket rotation. Julio's Band of Servitude, blah blah blah, tier 2, and rank PvP gear for the 2-piece and the 5-piece set bonus. I have this other stuff I'd use for a Holy Retribution build. Locomir is amazing just because it gives so much spell power. Red Dragon Skill for world PvP. Ancient Cornerstone Grimoire you should use for like on cooldown for any PvP you're doing. Just because you can use it and then swap out of it as soon as the skeleton comes out, it doesn't send it away. Like how if you use, I think if you use Barovs, let me check that. I don't have it equipped. But I think if you use Barovs or other stuff, and then swap the trinket, it cancels the pets. I'm not actually sure about that now. But I know it works that way for Second Wind. If you have the Second Wind regen up and swap the trinket out, it gets deleted. But it doesn't work that way for Grimoire. So you pop Grimoire, then you pop your shield in. Easy peasy. Okay, so going down the line. I had all these sets for the different matchups. My warrior set. This is what I use versus J-Law. This is what I use versus, who did I play? Versus Naruki and Abernathy. I guess I should just equip it and do it this way. Doop. Excuse me, sorry. Is this working? No.
Be careful.
Alright. And I got auto queue on. I'm sorry. It's kind of scuffed. But for warrior now, I ran heavy block with Thorium Shield Spec because I have this Prot Tree stuff going on, read down Shield Spec. Ran Locomir for damage. One thing I thought about doing was Mugga her after the initial fight, so that if I get a slow proc on him, I can kind of walk out of his range with freedom or whatever if he's hamstringing me, and get free heals off, and then come back in and trade blows with him. Just because having that free time to heal is kind of huge. I ran Judgment 5-piece. I ran PvP 2-piece. Same thing as I do for most matchups. Speed, spell power, the set bonuses are great. Stamina is great. Ran Therazanes, could run something else here, like PvP, and this is going to be for everything. I'd run the PvP 3-piece, and like the rank 13 PvP 3-piece and Judgment 5-piece. But you can do a lot of stuff here. Therazane's good for armor and shit. I ran Master Dragon Slayers for stamina, just because I really want to be able to survive his burst. The agility kind of went to waste. I get a little bit of defense for it, and the defense plus 7 is nice because it puts up my chance to block and shit. Other options, Onitooth not as great. Heroes Brand, maybe if I didn't have this, I would run that just so I have more stun uptime. I always ran Brand of Servitude for like every match just because the healing, spell damage is amazing, stamina is great, intellect's great. For this and for Rogue, I think I ran the heavy Dark Iron Ring just to have more stam, more armor, more defense, because I really want to be able to survive. It was my like top priority, and I think I would open with Devotion Aura and switch to Retribution if I was like getting confident and wanted to start doing more damage on them, and Concentration if I wanted to like free cast in front of them and not get stunned or not get like kicked back. My trinket and my strategies for warrior matchup is like this, and this is kind of what I used for the whole thing. Don't read too much into it, but I would like track their timers, and I would know what their insignia could get removed. But for trinkets, AGM and net were my top 2 priorities. AGM just so I can stop him from building rage, and it gives me more of a health buffer and shield. I like net if he's not running belt and boots, just because if I net him, he's fucking out of the fight. It's a wrap. I can free heal, I can poke at him. After that, mortar was a super high priority just because it gives me another stun on him. I keep him in combat as a range if he's running away from me. And then I just like pets are always amazing for damage. Shrink Ray is good, and then Zandalar Charm. Shrink Ray just to reduce his damage on me. It's more like of that AGM mentality. And then Zandalar Charm is my lowest priority. So if you look at this arrow is like AGM highest priority, net next highest, this next highest, blah blah blah. Zandalar is like the bottom of the list. Just so I can try to burst him at the end maybe. You could run Insignia here if you're fighting a warrior who likes to fear a lot. It's pretty good. Alright, and the strategy was like, trade with Locomere, we scrap. As soon as I can do like a full Divine Favor heal on myself, that's when I try to Hajj him. If he breaks the Hajj or resists it, I go for the net and then I go for a heal. If he breaks the net too because he has belt on or something, then I have to bubble. I try to use Divine Shield, the big bubble, if he hasn't grenaded or rocket helmed or anything yet. If I know his rocket helm is on cooldown and his grenade is on cooldown, I can bubble pretty freely because then he can just fear me. It's pretty good, but it's like I have resist chance, I have insignia maybe equipped. That's when you want to bop. And then you just start getting your free heals in. You poke at them with like a rank 1 Holy Shock or max rank Holy Shock or a Judgment or a grenade to keep them in combat. And yeah, just the biggest thing is stay alive. So that's warrior. Next up, what else is there? I think priest was the other one. For shadow priest, I invested a lot in getting shadow resistance set. Let me see if I can do this. Grab this guy's stuff, grab this guy's stuff, grab this guy's stuff. Alright. So, what? Dio, I didn't delete any of that, did I?
Well,
hope not. Yoink. Alright. So for Shadow Priest, this is the set I ran that everyone was asking me about. So if I go ham, it's 313 Shadow Resist, which is really nice. And so the pieces I ran, I didn't run the 5-piece tier 2 or the 2-piece of PvP. I ran this guy because he has Shadow Resist. I ran this guy because he has Shadow Resist. There's some other items you can get here, but their stats are amazing. So it's like the trade-off's not really worth it because you can run Dark Rune for these two, but it's like you only get stam and 25 Shadow Resist versus just like all these stats and buffs and crazy shit. So these guys for Shadow Resist, I ran this set, the Rune Stygian set I had made. It's pretty expensive. Guild helped me out a lot. Shoutouts to them. It gives a bunch of Shadow Resist and it gives stam and it gives MP5. It's a cloth set. It's sick. That's like everything you want. You want a bunch of Shadow Resist so that they drain a lot of their mana because their strategy is going to be to mana drain me. Fear me, mana drain me. When I'm I lose. So it gives me MP5, gives me stamina to survive for longer. It gives me a bunch of Shadow Resist. Big. I threw a Libram of Constitution on this, which is sweet. Speed, nothing on that. Just good stats. This guy is a farm from DM West. Stats are pretty sick. 10 stamina and 15 Shadow Resist. Other stuff I could have ran was like Oni Tooth or this guy's, which is just more stam. But I thought this was a pretty good piece. Lawbringer shoulders have Shadow Resist, so I ran those guys. I opted for the spell damage just because, fuck it, hit them harder. It helps me in a couple other matchups too, versus just getting the like Shadow Resist +5 from, what's it called? From the like Strat Skolo rep thing. This is just another Shadow Resist cape with stam on it. It's pretty sweet. It comes from Strat. I ran the Shadow Resist enchant on it just to start maxing out. I wanted the Interlaced Shadow Jerkin from oh shit, am I blocking? Oh, I'm such a dummy. Oh crap. I hope that didn't block everything from the first fight. Or from the first like warrior thing. I'll try to do this a little faster, sorry about that. Dark Rune Breastplate I ran. The Interlaced Shadow Jerkin from Blackwing Lair would have been better here. Because this guy, this crit, or the dodge isn't doing much for me, but the stats are nice, same thing as these guys. Without the MP5. But this is what you really would want to run. Comes off trash in Blackwing Lair. Boom, 25 stam, 30 Shadow Resist, just amazing. More Shadow Resist, stam, wrists. I ran MP5 on him just to help keep me in the game, over healing too, just because you really want that sustain. Locomere, Skull Flame, this should have been stamina if I was really optimizing just for that shadow resist. And then just green shadow resist rings. For these guys, I would probably just run one and run Insignia or Glimmering Mithril Insignia because that's amazing. And versus my duels, I use this after their first one. I would try to keep track of their timer on when their scream is coming up again, and then pop this and stay on them because you know they're going to spam it on cooldown. So you kind of sneak that in and get a free pass. And then verse priest, the strategy is pretty simple. It's just watch their cooldowns, run shadow resist. I switched to 2H for damage once they were but honestly I think that was maybe a mistake because you want to put judgment. Do I have this? Don't consecrate yet, waste of mana. Unless they do like a invisibility headpiece or something to catch them. But this is the biggest thing. Always run blessing until they're like out of the game. So you turn on blessing of wisdom, you hit them once with it, then you judge it on them. If they're cleansing it, it takes way more from them. It takes way more from them over time to get it off than for you to keep it up because you're getting stuff back every time you cast it. So you seal, you swing, you judge. If they're purging you nonstop, I try to keep wisdom up. If they're purging me nonstop, I just spam rank 1 wisdom because it's like 20 mana. They're burning a shitload to get rid of it. And then at the end, if you want, you can run rank 3 Seal of Righteousness is good for a lot of matchups because it gives you have higher spell power scaling. Though with this gear, you're probably not getting too much out of it. And I'm pretty sure Seal of Righteousness has a chance to double proc the Judgment of Wisdom. So it's pretty juicy. And yeah, this is like the trinket rotation I would do. Shadow Reflector, Mithril Insignia, PvP Trinket, maybe Pets, and then Shard of the Skill, maybe for mana, probably not. And yeah, I like sticking to the one-hander at the end too, just because you swing faster so you get more Wisdom regen back, whereas, because it's only based on you attacking them timer, not based on like weapon speed or anything for Judgment of Wisdom. Where's that guy? Boop. And that's huge in the matchup. Alright, what's the next thing we did? Rogue, yeah. Alright. So for Rogue, I did really bad versus the Rogues I played. But the strategy is pretty simple. Just survive until you're comfortable and then you fight back. You want to force them off you, so like I burn a lot of mana doing max ranks consecrations. And then just like trying to beat the shit out of them until they have to back up. Healing in their face, you eat a kick and that reduces the damage that they can do to you. And then while kick's on cooldown, you can free heal on them, which is very, very nice. The thing I did, which is terrible, and I got really mad at myself if you watch my matches, is I used Bop before I baited out his blind. I should have Divine Shielded. Same thing for that Warrior matchup. Always save your Bop until you can get it safely when you need to heal. And it's like you trade, you Hodge them, you heal. You go back in for round 2. If you break combat because they vanish or they blind you and they run away, you want to make sure, unless you can find them instantly, that you are healing and drinking and bandaging as much as possible. So I do like run away, consecrate, get to the far side of the consecrate, bandage, drink, run away again if you don't find them, consecrate again, turn around, pop perception after because their vanish timers of improved invisibility is gone, and then you can start looking for them and pop them, which is nice for being a human. Though obviously it's not the best PvP race. But that's pretty much it. And yeah, you kind of do a figure 8 where it's like, they're here, we're fighting, he vanishes and goes this way, I consecrate, I go over here, and I start drinking. The consecrate runs out, I run over to here, and I drop another consecrate, and I look back where we came from to find him. And then the gears, like same thing as the warrior really, 5-piece, 2-piece, stamina, spell power, net, insignia for their stun. For the stun, you can bop out of a sap too if you want to be crazy. But insignia is nice because it breaks like cheap shot. You can catch them off guard. Smolderweb's Eyes one I wanted to run versus them because it keeps them in combat. Same for like Skullforge Reaver. I don't have it, but it has a long damage over time proc that keeps them from stealthing. Doesn't keep them in combat, but it keeps them out of stealth, which is pretty sick. Shrink Ray, Zandalar Charm, Death Ray I thought about doing as a combo, like into stun, try to one-shot him. But this guy's cool. 20 seconds of no stealth. Oops, sorry. That's the rogue matchup. Boop, boop, bop, boop, boop. Hunter is a hard matchup. I was really sad that I had to play so many hunters when I got to bracket. So that was my worst, or second worst performing matchup in the group stages. Though I think I started to get it figured out towards the end, but I just blew it. So for hunters, I run stamina to survive their burst. I got this cloak, which I think I started running for a lot of matchups just because it gives more spell power where I'm not like 100% worried about getting bursted down. It's nice if you don't have like Cloak of the Broodlord or Saffron Drape. I started running Mouster's Defender, and this is one of those MP5 battles. Same for Druid. I ran Frost Resist on it because I really want to resist a Frost Trap because they get them off so freely. Getting a resisted Frost Trap is like part of your win condition. I ran this ring too. More spell power is good, and it gives MP5, which is pretty sweet. Same for Druid matchup. I'll run that as well. I like to open with Mortar, just so it's a guaranteed gap close pretty much. And then you can run up on them and start beating their ass. And this is one matchup where I run a lot of Mug of Hurt. Once you gap close, I used to weapon on a Mug of Hurt, Seal of Righteousness. You just punch them. As soon as they get that slow, it's like they're kind of stuck. They have to do a full CC on you to get away. If that, they can't really break it with anything. It's sick. This item's sick. I'll talk about it more in the Druid matchup, but like if you watch my Hunter matches, gap close, switch to Mug, stay on him, just keep beating him up. If you want, you can try to do, it's a 10-second slow, so you can try to switch to your two-hander. I know Chad was saying that, but once the damage for my build is not great for switching to two-hander because I have Seal of Righteousness. And if that timer, when that timer falls off, it's not like I'm going to just switch back and get it back up again. You really have to stick on him with it because it's like a 15% chance to get it, so you have to hit him like 7 times. I don't know what the math is. But for strats, for a Hunter, it was just, I'd probably start here. This is the big thing. Open with Mortar and Barrel, run in, Judge of the Crusader on them, shock them while they're stunned if I can do that gap close. And I run Goblin Rocket Boots here too on like rotation. So Rocket Boots, Goblin, Gnomish, and then my PvP boots. Yeah, so close gap, Judge of the Crusader, Seal of Righteousness rank 3 for the improved spell power scaling. So it just does more damage. Rocket Boots to stay on them when they scatter me, which is what he's going to do when he wakes up out of the stun. Scatter me, I can rank 1 bop it, dodge the Feign Death trap that he puts down, cancel the Blessing of Protection, start just beating his ass again, and then I have to do the merry-go-round, which is like impossible around his Frost Trap. And here, obviously, if you're not playing an amazing hunter, kill their pet first. If you kill their pet, it's GG. It's like a win condition, but where's good hunters, they just get their pet out of there, so I kind of have to give up on it. But like if they're really beating you with the pet, just hit it until they make it retreat. If you can kill it, like with a Hajj. But yeah, scatter bop, cancel bop, and then once I've dodged that first trap, then I really want to stick on him. For his next trap, I was going to do pets, so I was going to do barrels and then put Blessing of Sacrifice on the pet, so that he might trap me. It keeps him in combat, and if he shoots it, it breaks me out of the trap, so I can just run back up on him, pop Goblin Rocket Boots there and close the gap, etc. And the big thing is you don't want to get trapped versus Hunter because they can drink forever, and it's just so stupid. You never want to full him because then you can just have permanent Viper Sting on you. Anytime he gets Viper Sting on you, you want to cleanse it. But if, say, you're healing, you go Concentration Aura so that you can heal through his pet 1.0 attack speed damage on you. You heal. If you're doing Holy Light, you can get screwed sometimes, but if you're spamming Flashlight, it's a 1.5 second cast. When you get Viper Stung, there's 2 seconds before the first tick, so you can always finish your Flashlight, and then next action can be a cleanse, and you run in a little bit, so you like micro space, then you can heal again, etc. Because they lose mana on that trade, or they don't always lose mana on it, because I think it might cost you a tiny bit more to cleanse, but your mana pool is bigger and your MP5 is bigger, so you win just cleansing all their Viper Stings. Don't worry about concuss. I would just walk through a lot of concussive shots unless I really need to gap close. Save Blessing of Freedom for wing clip after you've closed. Do Blessing of Wisdom when you can, otherwise if you're just like tanking shit and need to heal. When you gap close too, if you're not going to heal, swap to Frost Resist Aura. It's pretty juicy because you just are praying for that chance to resist the trap, and then you can beat the shit out of them and you get like all your payback. It's amazing. Yeah, melee at max range too to dodge the Feign Death trap. If you're too close, they can just drop it on you and get kind of screwed, especially if you're doing that ring around the rosy thing because you dodged one. Always max range. One good thing to know is that unless they're a Tauren, if they're standing on top of the Frost Trap, you can't melee them. As soon as you enter that range, it'll hit you. So be careful for that. But yeah, I think this Blessing of Sacrifice trap thing is sick. I actually ran a macro, and then for trinkets too, Shout of the Scale is a good one. I open with these two, but I would switch to Shout of the Scale immediately so that I have the big MP5 coming in, or you can do Rejuve Gem if you have that. This guy right here, Shout of the Scale, is amazing. And then it's like pets and other crap you can send at him. But the one thing I like to use for the Hunter matchup is this macro I made. Boop. Stop casting. It targets any pet that's up, and it casts Blessing of Sacrifice rank 1 on it, and then it switches to your last target. So if I'm on the Hunter, I make my pet, I hit this button, click, it casts it. So let me show you right here. I do Barov's up, I click this, I Blessing of Freedom the closest Barov, and I keep my target. It's nice. And it just searches down the list. One thing you want to be careful about, I couldn't figure this out, but this I think is going to target hostile pets, and it might target dead ones, but it's just going to target the closest one. So just keep your wits about you. If you see that, then you have to do like a manual sacrifice on somebody. Whoops. But yeah, that's big for that matchup. And this is the bubble cancel macro that Drakova gave me. It's pretty straightforward, but you can use it well because it works for both of the bubbles. I don't know where the hell I put it. Here it is. It's just a cancel or a divine shield, blessing protection. So you'd run in, because when you're bubbled, you can't do a lot of offensive actions. So I get scatter shot. I do this, I immediately step to the side to juke the trap, and then I immediately hit this macro to cancel it, and then I keep beating him up. Okay, so that's the Hunter matchup. Mage is hard as fuck. And yeah, dude, my brag goes hard. I didn't take any games off of Mage, but I think I could have during the CDL, and if I beat Fearwind, I would have had to play 2 Mages back to back next, which is like, okay. Alright, sorry. For Mage, big stam. This I ran over the tier 1 PvP just for more stam, because it's just like I need to survive their burst, especially with the rule set from CDL where they get 3 poly limit. So my strategy was to trinket their first poly, to do the pet sacrificing to break their second polymorph, and then to just tank the damage on the third polymorph, because after that, that's when we fight. So I ran Stam Ring, Stam Neck, Stam Shoulders, Judgment Shoes for more Stam, Therazane's Belt for Stam. I ran Malsters because it has most Stam, it has Frost Resist. The MP5 is kind of nice too. While I'm polyed, I get that MP5 tick on me. And then I ran Cauterizing Band for healing so I can sustain better. And then my matchup notes were like, track is timers, poly open, Blessing of Freedom to run away. This is after I do this Insignia, Barov, and Sack. And then for the third poly, I would Trinket swap into AGM or like the AB Bubble Absorb Trinket and run like Fire or Frost Reflector, right? And then after that, I would start running pets, and then I would run something like Mortar just to CC him, gap close, beat his ass. And the strategies here were like, on his final open, he polys me. I do Blessing of Freedom. He opens with like a Frostbolt or something. I Bless of Freedom, run away for the first GCD, and then just start full casting a heal. And this is the Drakova strat that he told me, which is pretty cool. So I just say if he's going to burst me, I'm going to out heal his damage. And if he counterspells me, then it's like, okay, now I have to just survive. So that's when I pop reflectors and AGMs as needed just to make sure I don't die. Once I'm out of the counterspell lockout window, I just start healing again. Boom, boom, boom. And then he's probably about at that point, and I can just kill him. And yeah, this is good too. I probably maybe Blessing of Freedom first GCD, Holy Shock myself second GCD, and then go into heals. So just so that I have a bigger pool to start with, before I have to tank his damage. You can try to juke him too. I was surprised that the priests or the mages, neither one ran improved counterspell during the bracket stage, so I could have juked their counterspells there and been like, okay, free heals, I'm back to full. So yeah, that's that matchup. Warlock is the next one. I had 2 strategies for Warlock I was going to do, because I got the Glimmering Mithril Insignia. The first duel, and I guess what else is there for gear? I run Peasants, you can run, and I would run 2-hander here, because my goal is to just beat his ass. I have all my damage stuff on, Don Julio's, this guy for health and resist, just because it's nice and a little bit of damage. But the strat here, damn, this video is going to be long, sorry. I'm trying to go through this as quickly as I can. But the strat here is, for the first duel, I'm not really paying attention to this, not paying attention to this. Okay. So it's not in here, but first duel, I run in, I mortar, I grenade just to gap close. As soon as I'm on him, I want Judgment of the Crusader, and I want Seal of Command or Seal of Righteousness. I want to start beating the shit out of him. I'm blowing everything on him. Holy Shock, judging constantly. When I see him casting Fear, his first Fear, and I'm doing every free GCD I have, I'm cleansing his stupid shit, unless it's a rank 1. I cleanse it. Conflagrate, what's it called? You know, the damage over times that the Warlocks always put on you. They can put 1 curse. Agony I found to be pretty good, but yeah, Agony's a good one to run, especially versus this set, because it gets on, it does a disgusting amount of damage. But as soon as he's about to finish casting his first Fear, I'm Mithril Insignia, and then I can stick on him. Normally here, he'll Shadow Coil, and I can either Divine Shield just to stay on him, or I can tank it and then mortar him or something. I think my strat was Rocket Boots and Pets, so that as soon as I Insig, I know he's gonna Death Coil me just to create gap and run away. That's when I send Pets out on him to just make it harder for him to cast on me, and then I Goblin Rocket Boots once the stun is done on Death Coil, and I run back in and just start beating him up again for the 30 seconds. And then hopefully by that time he's dead. That's the dream. And he really should be, just with like all the burst. If he's still alive and I haven't Divine Shielded yet, once Mithril Insignia is down, I can Divine Shield and I get 8 more seconds of ass whooping on him. And then my Hammer of Justice is probably up at that point, so I can hammer him again and just keep killing him. But for the second duel, because this is going to be on cooldown, I was thinking about running Shadow Resist, but they play around it really well. I had a lot of matches with Fooch where like I'd run my 313 Shadow Resist, and it would go to time, and I'd be like Judgment of Wisdom on him and just beat him up. But it would be rough because he would me sometimes, and just the damage isn't really there. So this is what I kind of opted to do. 50 base Fire Resist, and let's look at the gear. Shadow Resist Shoulders, Shadow Resist Neck. This guy's Shadow Fire Resist. This guy's got Shadow Resist, blah, blah, blah. I'm doing the 5-piece here. Judgment Boots, and I ran this belt because I can still get that 5-piece of tier 2, and this gives me a bunch of stamina, a bunch of Shadow Resist. So, and I'm doing Shadow Resist wrist too. So obviously I'm still running it, just not as crazy intensely. And here for the second duel, I have Insignia up and I have Shadow Reflector up. Run the Shield and Locomir, 2 Shadow Resist rings, so I'm at 150 base. I'm at 213 with the aura on, which is amazing. If I see him doing a lot of Scorch, I can switch to this to have 110. But honestly, I experimented with that. I don't really think it's worth the global cooldown. I would just heal through. When he starts Scorching, that's when you just start pumping out heals. And with this build, you don't want to rush the Warlock. You know this is going to be an attrition long game. So you kill the pet first. Exorcism as soon as it's up. Beat its ass. If it gets to like 50 or 60%, stun the Warlock or stun the pet just so it can't run away. Finish it off with everything you got. And then once it's just you versus the Warlock, you're in pretty good shape. You can pop this for his first Fear. Pop this when you see him about to finish his second one to reflect it back on him. You get a lot of uptime on him. That's about it for that. And this would be a matchup where like I'd be spamming Demonic Runes if I had only the Whipper Demonic Rune option and just heal through it. A lot of healing. A lot of cleansing. It worked out pretty well for me. I wasn't too worried about fighting any of the Warlocks, but Magister was really good versus it. Fooch got pretty good versus it. Debs was good versus it too, but I really choked in my second match versus Debs last time we played. Alright, for Druid, oh god, long ass match. Yeah, the big thing is always run Shard of the Scale and then just run like Pets or Damage or whatever. Run MP5, I'm going to chase him down. I'm going to switch to Mugga Hurt when I gap close. Let's see if there's anything crazy in here that I fear. Looks a lot like the Hunter set, but I run healing here because I don't have to worry about his burst as much. Run Spell Power Cape for healing and damage. Run this guy for the MP5. Unless he's feral, then the armor helps a lot too. I run Frost Resist just because I don't have a second one. Shard of the Scale is big, and then just like I would run all my pet trinkets and like mortars and Zandalar Hero Charm in this first slot on rotation, just because I'm always throwing shit at him. Because there's going to be combat breaks where I can trinket swap. Just keep throwing shit at him. Wear him down. Gap close. Sorry. Mugga Hurt is disgustingly strong here. As soon as you get this proc, he can't break it by shapeshifting. So you're on him for the rest of the duel. He can switch to bear form and stun you and run away, but hopefully you have like some kind of stun up or a grenade up so that you can gap close and reopen on him. But I wasn't looking forward to this. They added that Druids could mana pot, and that becomes disgusting. So think about this. If I'm using a Demonic Rune, D-Rune, every 2 minutes, I get, what is it, 1200 MP, and I lose 800 HP. Do I have any on me? There. Yeah, average is 1200 mana, 800 life. So I'm doing that every 2 minutes. I do that exchange. So it's like a total of 600 mana I get, kinda. Whoops. He's doing that, and he's doing this, which is what, 1800? So I'm doing that. This guy's doing D-Rune, major mana. So he's getting 3000 mana, and he's losing 800 HP every 2 minutes. That's huge. That major mana pot is like him having a free 75 mana per 5 is the math on it. That's front loaded. That's why I was not looking forward to that, because it's just like, okay, he has infinite mana. I can't wear him down. I just have to be able to outburst him, which is not easy because they're all balanced. But yeah, those are my strategies. This is, I think, how many things I consumed in the first week of the CDL. But yeah, those are the strats. If you're in World PvP, Ancient Cornerstone Grimoire constantly, Rocket Helm constantly, Mind Control Cap constantly are amazing. I think I want to talk about my macros too, but I don't run too much. Most of it's just like, let me think about this. Just a bunch of variants of these guys. Let me see if I have a good one somewhere. I run a lot of like cast with mod toggles on my mouse over or on my target for different blessings so that I can shift. And this is like a huge macro to have this mouse over help no dead. Lets you buff people wherever you want or heal people wherever you want. I run it for all my healing too. And so I just run like one keybind for Holy Light, Shift is Flashlight rank 6, Control is Flashlight rank 4, Alt is rank 1. And then I have like 3 blessings here. Rank 1 is always a good thing to bind. Same for this, Seal of Righteousness to rank 3, Seal Crusader max rank, Righteousness max rank 1, blah blah blah. Is there anything crazy I'm using? I use one for like Divine Favor. Most of it's just like having multiple keybinds on one thing. Divine Favor, Holy Shock, Exorcism, rank 1 Holy Shock. I love doing this so that I can see my cooldowns a little bit easier and see when I'm attacking. Rank 1 Consecration, Blessing of Sacrifice, Blessing of Freedom, Divine Shield, Blessing of Freedom, and Blessing of Protection, Blessing of Protection, rank 1. Mounts and this crap. Trinkets, I have like Trinket 1, Shift is Trinket 2, Control is Helm for Rocket Helm, and Alt is Boots. And not too much else going on. Hammer of Justice, this turns into Eat and Drink. This is like Skull of Doom, which is another thing you can use versus Mage. Yeah, not too much going on, but those are huge. This guy, mouse over trinkets and mod toggles, and then just running things like, crap, I don't know if I have any around here. Like a big weapon swap one I have somewhere is nice so that like I can juggle between Mug of Hurt, this guy, boom, I want this, oh wait, I want this shield instead, I want this, blah blah blah, helps. And a big grenade one in like ores and shit. Alright, so that's about it for the macros and the strats, man. I hope you guys enjoyed it and don't have to ask me many more follow-up questions.